Most children's long-term memories don't form until around 4 years old, but that doesn't mean that the things that happen in infancy and toddlerhood don't matter. They matter a great deal. That's why parenting specialists advise you to take your babies out and explore the world. The more experience a little person has in their early years, the more they will want to learn later on, and most people internalize early learning instead of actively remembering it. But how does this tie into spiritual anxiety, religious trauma, and non-belief? Well, we'll get to that. Hi, welcome to the Secular Scriptures. I'm Gail, and in this video we'll explore memory formation, fear-based teachings, and 5 ways to heal what you learned in Sunday school. Before we get into that, I have some statistics for you. I have very vivid early memories from infancy and toddlerhood, and I am not alone in that. A few months ago, I read a research paper which claimed that vivid early memories are exceedingly rare. And as someone who has them, I was like, I think something's off here. And so I informally surveyed my Facebook friends asking, what age do your earliest memories come from, and are they snapshots or vivid memories? By a snapshot, I mean a short flash of memory from one event, and by vivid, I mean a longer movie roll or series of memories from a particular time, place, thoughts, feelings, etc. Now, granted, this was a small sample size, and my Facebook friends skew towards the neurodiverse and are rather awesome. So they may not be representative of the wider population. Of the 58 responses, 8 came from men and 50 from women. In infancy, 7 people had memories about half vivid and half snapshots. I have some snapshot memories from being that young. 6 people had memories from age 1. Many of those were of family homes they had moved out of, or relatives who had passed away before they turned 2, so they could verify the timelines. Like, in my case, I remember my great-uncle Ed, who died when I was 2. One friend remembers deciding to learn how to walk, which I practiced between the coffee table and couch, so it's kind of cool to have a shared memory like that. From age 2, we have 20 people with 11 vivid and 9 snapshot memories. Age 3, there were 17 people, mostly snapshots. By age 4, I had 8 respondents. Please note that I expected a drop-off in the response rate here, as 4 is the average age of long-term memory formation, so technically 4 is no longer early memories, it's pretty standard, but I counted those responses anyway. There was one response which I did not count in this survey from a friend whose earliest memory is from age 12 due to childhood trauma. So what can we glean from my tiny informal survey? If I personally have 29 friends with vivid early memories, then vivid early memories aren't rare. But when we look at the broader large-scale data, it does show that most people don't have early memories. Most people's memories begin around age 4. Since this is ultimately a channel about the nature of belief, what does childhood amnesia have to do with that? Early fear-based teachings bypass your higher cognitive functions and go straight to the instinctual parts of our brain. For those of you who are leaving or have left high-control religions, who are still living in fear of things like hell, demons, or making God sad, you may be struggling with those early fear-based teachings that were hardwired into your brain in nursery school before your long-term memories even formed. Learning that you are safe and that those threats aren't real takes a lot of deliberate effort and hard work in a mature prefrontal cortex, the analytical part of your brain. Fear is deep, ingrained, and learned fast. It has to be because it's about survival, not logic or reason, which take more time. But when that fear isn't about real things, it can be very harmful. Here's the caveat. Hell doesn't traumatize everyone. Jesus monitoring your teenage crush thoughts doesn't bother everyone. Many Christians aren't worried about this at all, and if that's you, great. Here's your get out of hell free card. Go enjoy it. But for those of you who are bothered by these things, who spend many hours a day locked in a state of anxiety, ruminating over past or future sins, you may have to put in the hard work to retrain your brain to not fear fairy tales. Even if you know there is no big bad wolf named Satan and Jesus doesn't care about your latest crush because he's been dead for 2,000 years. But the problem is you were told that the devil was going to get you when you were 3, and it scared hell right into the deepest and most instinctual parts of your brain when you were too young to know the difference between fantasy and reality. So, what can you do to move past this? You have to rewrite the story. First, therapy. If you have the time and money, a trauma-informed secular therapist is amazing. If you are struggling with religious OCD, called scrupulosity, or if you are autistic, finding a specialist who understands these conditions is important. If you aren't sure how to do that, the Freedom from Religion Foundation has a list of providers on their website. Developmental psychology. Learn how childhood trauma happens. It doesn't take an abusive parent to cause a person lifelong trauma. It can be as benign as a story that scared you when you were a toddler. That is usually how the fear of hell is introduced to children. Once you understand how this happens, you can start to undo the damage. Understanding strips the magical powers away. 3 is comparative mythology. Find out where these stories came from. Once you see how they've evolved and changed over time, which elements were borrowed from other cultures, it becomes much easier to see that there is no boogeyman under your bed. Your mother just wanted you to clean your room. 4 is historical context. Why did these people tell these tales? Who was gaining power? Who was being subjugated? What morals and ethics were they trying to instill? And how was their society shaped through these myths? If you can't bring yourself to learn about this in the context of Christianity, study a different religion and culture first. See how religious leaders and rulers over there used fear-based teachings to manipulate their people before examining how those same methods may have been used when you were a child. And 5 is ask questions. This is often difficult for those of us from high-control groups. We were conditioned as children to stop our dangerous thoughts before they could even form, and trying to ask those hard questions can trigger a panic response. But once you learn how to slow down, sit with the discomfort, or a kitty, and focus on the problem, you can get through it. I highly recommend writing things down. Don't accept weak apologetic answers. There is a big difference between easy thought-stopping responses and actual complex answers. If you're suffering from the fear of hell or other theological nightmares, it's not demons. You are not evil or broken or crazy or anything like that. You are struggling against fears that were instilled in you before you could even remember. Please be kind to your inner child. It takes time to heal. I will put as many resources in the description box below as I can. Thank you for joining me here on the Secular Scriptures, and I will see you next Sunday at 9 a.m. Hi! Finding a specialist who understands those conditions is important. If you aren't sure, ma'am, yeah, that's fine. You can floop. Go ahead and floop. Can you move your tail out of my face, though? I really don't want your butt in my face. This is a serious video here, cat. Miss Possum. Floop. Come on. Do your floop thing so that we can continue reading. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Okay, next. Why did these people tell these tales? Who was gaining power? Who was being subjugated? Who was in the way of my script?